Hi, I'm Raven and I'm having a pint in all 32 counties in Ireland. Next up, County Roscommon. Where we last left off, I was leaving Sligo to head to Boyle, feeling really cool. Now there's a specific reason that I'm in Boyle instead of the Roscommon sides of Athlone or Carrick-on-Shannon. And that reason is, when I was 12, a show about a boy my age and his imaginary friend set in Boyle during the late 80s was picked up by Hulu. And as a young girl with a big imagination, a desire for adventure, and a yearning for independence, I really identified with the boy. And with each season that came out in the US, the lad got older, and so did I. Until it ended when I was about 14 or 15. It was funny, it was sweet, and it was Moone Boy. Which I guess you could have figured out because it's the only show set in Boyle Roscommon. So I went to the tourism center to pick up the Moone Boy sightseeing map. It was freezing cold and storming, but Ailish, the really nice woman who works at the tourist center and for Discover Boyle, opened the store for me, where I got my map and then saw this. A replica of Martin Moone's hat made by Amer Kelly, the Boyle native who knitted the hats for the show. So with my hat donned and soundtrack playing, I started my Moone Boy tour around town center. The map has QR codes that you scan with your phone that show you clips from the show from where you're standing. I wish I'd gotten more footage on the tour, but I was getting drenched, so it was time for On Craveen. I tried to go to Patrickswell, but I had another county after this, so I didn't have time to wait until they opened. On Craveen had 5 items on the menu, and 2 options for pints, Guinness or Smittix. They typically have 3, but they were out of Heineken. On Craveen's not trying to impress you, because it doesn't have to. You see, with every person that came in, the staff recognized them, other patrons were asking how the kids were, whose cousins moving or visiting. It was a real salt-of-the-earth experience, and they were really curious as to why I was in Boyle and what I had seen. They were also like, people still care about Moone Boy. Raven does. But the nice folks of Boyle made me feel so welcome that I feel really bad for what I did. You see, a while back I put out a call to dig a hole on someone's property in exchange for an unworn piece of clothing, a delicious apple crumble, and a pint if he wanted to be in the video. Well, that's because in the episode Boyle, 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 or how I think it's meant to be pronounced, Bolle, 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 the first episode of Series 2, Martin, in his imagination, has a suitcase full of Boyle soil.
Is that just soil?
No, sir. That is Boyle soil.
So I got the idea to get some of my own.
There's no soil like Boyle soil.
However, during the time frame of me shooting this episode, I got invited to this really cool week-long retreat experience in Dublin called Catching the Flu. Would not recommend. Did not meet any of my criteria. So I had to improvise how I would procure Boyle soil. Like, remember in Sligo when I bought that piece of cake to give to the folks at the Swagman? Well, I only did it to get the plastic fork that comes with it to use as a trowel, because in my mind at the time, that seemed less awkward than just asking for a fork, which is perfectly normal now that I'm thinking about it. Anyways, earlier I found this abandoned flower bed and looked around before filling my jars. And so quickly I dug, because there's nothing suspicious about an American lady crouched by a flower bed. Thus, with my jar of dirt, pint of Guinness, nice piece of apple crumble had, that's 23 out of 32 counties, 42 pints consumed. Special thanks to Ailish, Discover Boyle, and the wonderful people of Boyle. I will return the Boyle soil if that's what I need to do to not be banned from the town of Boyle. However, at this point I should mention, as I further dig a hole for myself, I didn't just get a single jar of Boyle soil for me. I also got a jar of Boyle soil for Boyle's very own golden boy, Chris O'Dowd. It's labeled Chris's Boyle soil, and I decorated the jar with some masking tape, and some fun stickers. So Chris, depending on how this video is received, I may or may not have a jar of dirt for you. Thank you all so much for watching. Just remember, stealing is wrong, and if you visit any of these pubs, tell them Raven sent ya.